Wanting more than what you have. This is a very natural human experience, and we have a little bit of a confused relationship with this feeling of desire. So today I wanted to really unravel that so that you can be using your desire purposefully, because desire is the fuel for manifesting what it is that you want. And within the physical manifestation of your desires, so when you do experience those desires in physical form, those manifestations contain the seed of desire for the next expansion of that manifestation. Within every physical experience is the desire for the next iteration of that experience, the expansion of that experience. So we are going to come into a much healthier relationship with desire. If at all you have felt guilty or you feel like it's somehow wrong or bad to desire more than what you have, it's a natural human experience. We're going to use that desire in the correct way so that it's not actually working against you. We're going to have your desire working for you and in the direction of the next iteration of your manifestation, so that you're able to just keep creating more of what you want, knowing that when you experience more of what you want, that's going to contain the seed of even more of that experience. So we're just going to keep expanding. That's what we're doing today. My name is Hedley, and if you'd like to know more about me or my offerings, including Law of Assumption coaching, where we will completely rescript, reimagine, re-envision your reality, my self-concept course, I Am the One, or my book, I Am Money, which will completely transform your relationship with money, you will find all of those details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. But if I could just ask you to do one very simple thing, if you are enjoying this channel and you are enjoying my videos, to please press that subscribe button now. That would be most appreciated. Thank you so much. Desire. Wanting more than what you have or what you are currently experiencing. That is the human experience. Nothing wrong with it. But my goodness, we have given desire a bad name. Or we have a confusing relationship with desire. And I think that's because there are many spiritual teachings, religious teachings that have taught that desire is bad, that we have to be happy with what we have, and that it is somehow selfish or wrong to desire more. However, it's not desire that creates suffering, it's the attachment to desire that creates suffering. So today I wanted to take you through a process that is going to ensure as soon as you feel that desire, that wanting, that yearning, that longing for something that isn't in your reality, you can actually transmute that energy immediately so that it doesn't turn in on itself and create suffering. Because when we aren't transmuting desire, when we aren't transmuting that energy, which is a very powerful energy, I mean, it's the energy of creation. And if we are just staying in that state of desire and we're not doing anything with it, then yes, that is what causes suffering. We have to be transmuting that energy, and I'm going to take you through a process that is going to do that today and make it so much easier, so that you know that when you feel that yearning, when you feel that desire, that's just an indication that there is more available to you, that there is a calling for further expansion. Because within every physical manifestation that we experience with our five senses here in this game of reality, there is the seed of desire. Which means that as you have the experience that you've been manifesting or that you've been focusing on, and that comes into form, within that form is the desire for the next expansion of that form. But we don't know this, so we actually just stay in this energy of desire and wanting and yearning and longing, and we look for it in reality. We try and take that energy and we try and transmute it in reality, but that is not where we transmute desire. So I'm going to take you through a few diagrams. So if you are listening to this on the podcast, I would encourage you to click over onto video so you can actually watch the video through the podcast, or come back to this later when you're in a safe place, you're not driving or something, and you can actually look at the diagrams, because the diagrams are going to explain this a little bit more. I love my diagrams. So let's start where I always like to start, which is the first principle of law of assumption, and that is consciousness is the one and only reality, and reality that we experience with our five senses is nothing more than the holographic reflection of consciousness and where we are directing our awareness. Reality is like your algorithm, like your Instagram or Facebook algorithm. whatever you're paying attention to is going to send the message that that's what you're interested in and want more of. So your reality is going to give you more of what you are focusing on. The more time you spend focusing on something, that's what's going to show up more in your reality through events, circumstances, people, situations, etc. So that is why you want to be very clear with what you are paying attention to. So here we have the diagram of consciousness and reality as the holographic reflection. We have consciousness and reality, and we have this being reflected back in opposite form. So if we applied the Holy Trinity to this, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And that gets reflected back in reality as the Holy Spirit, the Son, and the Father. This is all symbolic. So you have positive, negative, neutral, negative, positive. Okay, so that's how consciousness gets reflected back. There's many verses in the Bible that talk about how God is going to turn everything upside down and back to front in reality. So this is what this means. The Father, which is the masculine, that's the desire. That's what pushes into the feminine. So the Father is desire. The feminine is the manifestation of that desire. Now in consciousness, that manifestation of desire is formless. So when you have a desire in consciousness, you push that into your imagination and you create that desire into formlessness in imagination. So it's not yet solidified. That's the womb of creation, where we take a desire and we create a formlessness to it, meaning we have an imagined manifestation of that desire in the womb of creation. That's the womb of imagination. Now, what pushes that down is the feeling. So that's why it's important to get into the feeling of what it feels like to have that manifestation. And that formlessness then gets pushed out into reality as form, which is why it comes down as the feminine, which is why with every manifestation you create in reality contains the seed of desire for the next iteration of that form, which is why when something comes into your reality, there's a feeling of wanting more. I'll give you an example, a couple of examples. So when I came into these teachings, one of the first stories I rewrote was my home story, because I had a lot of negative assumptions with my home story. So I rewrote those and I ended up buying this beautiful home, which was exactly what I wanted at the time. Now, as I've come into this home, I love this home. I'm grateful for this home. There is so much that I love about this home. And within the experience of this home is the desire for the next home. I have come into this home and realized there's so much more I want. Now that I've had this experience of this home, I'm realizing, oh, I want this and I want this and I want this. So all of a sudden I'm faced with this feeling of desire for more based on what I have already manifested into form. If I had a negative relationship with that desire, I would try and push that desire down and say, don't be silly. You should be happy with the beautiful house that you have. You should be grateful with what you have. You shouldn't want any more. That's not how this reality experience works. Within every physical manifestation is the seed of desire for the next expansion or the next iteration of that manifestation. And what we need to do is when we feel that desire is we need to transmute that energy rather than pushing it away or resisting it or trying to talk ourselves out of it. Bring it in. Desire is the fuel for this manifesting experience, and that's the fuel for the expansion, for your expansion in this form as a physical experience. You are always going to be desiring more. That's not a bad thing, but you need to know what to do with that desire. I'll give you another example. Let's say you've been single for some time and you've been manifesting your person, and then this person arrives in physical form, and my goodness, how amazing it is to have this wonderful relationship. Very quickly, you're going to find yourself wanting more from that relationship. So before, when you were single, you just wanted the person showing up. Now the person is in form. Now you're wanting them to call a bit more. You're wanting to see them a bit more. You're finding yourself desiring more from the person that you didn't even have a little while ago. There is always going to be desire for further expansion. That is nothing to be afraid of or worry about or feel guilty about. That is part of this manifesting game. Here's where we get stuck. We have a desire for more, and then we look to reality for the fulfillment of that desire without transmuting it. Desire must be transmuted And we can only do that in consciousness, which means we have to go back up into consciousness to the Father, which is desire. We have to create the having experience of that desire. We can only do it in consciousness. Desire must be transmuted into a state of having. If you are in the state of desire and you are looking to reality for the fulfillment of that desire, you are going to push the manifestation away. For example, let's take that relationship. Let's say you've manifested your person into form and now you're wanting more. You're in the state of desire. You're wanting more from that relationship. If you go to reality and you say to them, I want more from this relationship, without having transmuted that energy first, you are going to push that person away. That person's going to be like, I'm sorry, I can't give you what you want right now. That's not where I'm at. Trying to fulfill desire at the level of reality without transmuting it first, you are going to push that manifestation away. Doesn't matter, you can still bring it back in, but you're just creating more unnecessary work for yourself. Don't do that. Go up, go to the Father, which is desire, and the Father is what pushes the desire into the formlessness, which is the feminine, which is the creation of having. I'm having a desire for this, so I'm going up into my imagination and I'm having it there. I've just transmuted desire into having. And when you feel that sense of having, that sense of release, yes, I have it. That's the release. That's the release where desire has been turned into having. And you can relax. Remind you of anything? The masculine pushes the desire into the feminine, and then the feminine creates the formlessness, and the feeling of that release is what produces that formlessness into form, in physical form, and within that physical form is the next desire, the next longing, the next yearning. But rather than looking to reality to fulfill that yearning, that's where you go back up. You take that energy of desire, you bring it up. That's the tantric practice, is where you bring desire up and you send it up into imagination, where you push that into the formlessness, into the sense of having that desire fulfilled now. There's the release. That feeling pushes that down into form, and then it gets born again. And hey, we just repeat that cycle over and over and over again. You are always manifesting and desiring. You are always desiring and manifesting. That is the cycle of life. If you are pushing away that desire, you're trying to manage that desire, you're trying to resist that desire, you're trying to kind of talk your way out of it, or you're trying to meet that desire at the level of reality, you're going to create a block within that cycle. And that's going to create a kind of like a blockage, basically, of your manifestations. So as soon as you feel that desire within for more, great, excellent, you're having a very human experience. Take that desire and push it up into imagination and push it into the feminine, which is the having of that experience. That's the husband impregnating the wife. This is all spiritually, by the way. That's the immaculate conception. So where that formlessness crosses over the threshold and becomes form, that's the cross. That's where Jesus died on the cross so that manifestation could be reborn. That's time and space. That's that neutral point. That's the mystery point. No one sees when formlessness becomes form. We never see when exactly or how our manifestations come into form. That's when it crosses over the threshold from consciousness into physical form. That's out of our hands, out of our control. That's that neutral point. Then it comes into form. We experience it, and within that experience is the seed of desire for the next experience. But that's where we have to transmute the energy. Take it in, push it up into the state of having. We have it in imagination. So this is a very exciting process. Now, the point of this video is so that you know desire is healthy. Wanting more is healthy. Yearning, longing, that is all healthy. That's the fuel that is fueling the next experience in physical form. But you got to know what to do with that energy. You never want to just stay in the state of desiring. If you are desiring something, go into imagination as quickly as possible and feel yourself having that desire. Now, it's only going to be an imagination at first, but that's great. And if you're still desiring it, then you still have to go into imagination and have it. That's the pushing. That's the push and release, the push and release, the push and release until there is a sense of relief. That's the release. That's when you know you have it. That's the conviction. That's the impregnation in the womb of the mind. Then there is that gestation period, and it gets pushed down and pushed out into physical form, where you get to have another experience. And then sure enough, within that other experience is just another desire. Desire is fueling your experience here in physical form. So use your desire, use it wisely. Bring it up, push it up, go in and create the formless manifestation of that sense of having. And you just keep repeating this cycle. What a beautiful cycle. Enjoy your manifestations. Enjoy that feeling of desire. It's such a beautiful feeling to feel yourself wanting something, but don't stay in the wanting. You're not meant to stay in the wanting. The wanting must be transmuted into having, and you can only do that in your wonderful human imagination. So go there, go up and go there first. Hello, hair. And then come back into your reality and just keep that energy moving, moving, moving. I know you've got this. We're going to be talking more about this because there's a lot more to talk about this. So I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. I have my mum here, so we are off to Pottages for lunch, which is in Karul up here. We've heard many wonderful things, so I might put the link to that restaurant down there. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye.